Hey, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Milikin Field in beautiful Ramona, Oklahoma. We're back on our live stream here, and we've had again some difficulties um, it's a big challenge here. There's a lot of wind, a lot of space, and a lot of moving parts. So we're doing our best. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for staying with us. We think it's going to be rewarded with some huge throws today. So far, the best 64 meters plus personal best by Samantha Hall of Jamaica. And so the first flight has gotten 3 throws, and we're waiting now for a reordering.
Yeah, so each of these flights, really, they're groups, and so they're almost their own meet unto themselves. And so Group C is going to get 3 more throws. Samantha Hall is in the lead at 64.41, and they are doing some reordering, some technical issues, as we know that there's a lot of moving parts here at Throwtown Ramona. The World Invitational is brought to you by Thrower X and Throws Pro. Also, Visit Tulsa, Roadie Sport, and Fiber Sport. We want to thank all the sponsors helping make this possible, along with Caleb Seal and his great group of workers out here getting this event ready. And then obviously Don Milikin, who has really pushed to create an opportunity for throwers to get opportunities to throw and compete, get world championship points, and also earn some money as professional throwers. And that's where Don's heart is. He loves throwing. He spent his time in the corporate world, and now he's putting his money where the mouth is, supporting the throwing community. So thanks to Don Milliken.
Yeah, shout out to our crew here for this webcast. Domingo, Will, Aiden, Sheldon, Andrew Saylor, Jason Kuhn. Those are the guys that are working their butts off, running around, resetting cameras, taking care of all the technical stuff. So they're making it happen for all Throws fans out there. Thank you very much to you guys. And looks like we're getting a couple warm-up throws here maybe before we reset.
I saw a flag go up, so I believe that was Essence Henderson taking their first throw. We are being joined by Mr. Matthew Denny in our little production studio. We're about to talk him into talking discus with us. What's up, Matty?
That's a good setup. Okay. I could sit here all day. I'm not throwing tomorrow. I'll just do this.
Matty Denny, we watched you throw some of the best throws we've ever seen in the world. Probably the best 6-throw series on Thursday. How you feeling today?
Yeah, good, man. Just doing a little bit of a movement, do a bit of a stretch, and have a feel for the circle and the wind tomorrow. But I thought I was going to be a little bit more fried than what I was. When on the Sunday when I threw 72, it was I woke up a bit sore and tired. But yeah, feel pretty keen to go tomorrow. Obviously, just want to compete. Obviously, want to throw far, but the biggest thing is competing. Throw the best against the best.
Can you talk us through your series of throws the other night? Big opener, out over 70 meters right away.
Yeah.
From there, where's your head, and how do you kind of control the excitement about the opportunity that this place presents, but also you're in such good throwing shape, trying to kind of balance those two things?
Yeah, I think what I've learnt being here over the last few days is obviously the conditions are great, but the biggest thing I think that's leading to great throws is Caleb and Don and everyone here's everyone wants people to throw far. There's a invitation to enjoy the sport and not feel like you're against the grain when you're going into some of these competitions and stuff. So I think there's a really great community side of it, and you look at the women's disc who got pushed back 6 hours, and we're throwing under light, and it's a beautiful sunset in Oklahoma, and we're just having a couple of beers and just having some fun and watching some great throws. So I think that's the biggest cornerstone of everyone throwing far here, is that everyone's enjoying the atmosphere. Everyone is encouraged to throw far. You don't really have a reason why you can't throw far here, and I think that then leads you to be free, and that's where the real incredible throws come from. So yeah, it was nice. Throwing here reminds me of throwing in Allora where I grew up, and just that home setting and stuff. So yeah, I'm just having fun with it, and I think it was a really good series, and I think that the 74 kind of took me by surprise. I think I didn't feel like it was the best throw for me. I think the best throw was the last round. but it just didn't catch the lift. It was probably too low for that kind of wind. So yeah, I think that really big throws are 100% possible tomorrow, and then you add in the mix of competing with Mikolos and all the other boys, and I think we owe it to, as a collective, it's for us, for the men's disc, like we're in an incredible era of throwing, so we owe it to everyone to put a great comp together and put a series that's worth reflecting on what we all have to offer. So yeah.
Maddie, you mentioned your hometown.
Yep.
And you lost your father this winter, and he was a
Yeah.
big part of your introduction to sports and your experience. Can you talk about that, the role your dad played in your career?
Yeah, I think ever since Dad passed away, like the biggest thing for me has been, as an athlete, like your self-interest of being the best and achieving that. Like that's obviously always been the priority. But when Dad passed away, and Dad, and Mum as well, and all my family, like they've all believed in me. And yeah, the fact that I never gave Dad a 70-meter throw or a win on the major circuit kind of hurt a lot. So I think, yeah, just for like now onwards with my career and stuff, it's just really owing those performances to him. And whether you're in good shape or not, like when you're competing, just get it done. Like, and he that was typical country mantra of who Dad was. It was like whatever the job was, just get it done, whether it's rain, hail, or shine, or you feel good or bad. So yeah, it kind of takes away the wanting to do well and more having to do well, and not in a bad way. Like I don't feel the pressure of that. I just feel like it frees you up to just make it happen and don't second guess yourself because you owe it to someone else to do it. So
You've always been a passionate guy, but I watching you the other day, I feel like you're at a whole nother level. Is dedicating this season to your dad part of that?
yeah, I think that there's two parts of it. Like one is we figured out a lot of stuff last year, like with the Olympics and leading into Diamond League final and what makes me truly throw far. And we've doubled down on some of that stuff. But you combine that with an unrelenting. I mean, I always knew I was always unrelenting anyway, but it's just this other thing that you can't really attain unless it happens to you.
Yeah.
To give that to someone else. So yeah, I think it's just lit a fire that you can't find unless you're in that kind of situation, and it's just like, I don't know, I walk into the circle just knowing that we're in great shape and we have the opportunity to do something really great. So you just do it. Like, don't be, oh well, this and that and whatever. Like, just make the throw happen. Don't bitch and moan about it. Like, so yeah, I feel like we've really turned a corner on how to create truly great throws for me. So yeah, it's an exciting prospect for the rest of the season as well. So
One of the things that I've always been impressed with is I feel like at the end of the season or at the biggest meet, you found a way to have your biggest throws. You've shown us that in the Olympics and Diamond League finals and World Championships. Here we are in April, and you look to be in fantastic shape, and it's a World Championship year with a very late World Championship. What are you doing throwing so far right now?
yeah, I think for us, throwing far is what makes us throw further. So just keep repeating that process, and we're learning lessons from each far throw, and I'm learning lessons from the throws on Thursday on how to be better on Sunday, like just some stuff around rhythm, and because when you start to get to that kind of pace of throw, it's not as Dale would put it, is like a 60-meter throw doesn't look the same as a 65. 65 is not the same as 70, and 70 isn't 75. So, and I'm learning that, and how the transfer of energy comes through the back into the center, and how that rhythm looks, and you can't find another way to do it other than actually doing it. So, so putting myself in a position to actually find those kinds of rhythms and that timing. Learn some lessons from Thursday and think that we can apply them for tomorrow, and go further again. So
You're from Australia, and life for you is really, really different than throwers from America or Europe, right? Because you have the summer season during our winter,
Yeah.
and then you've got to compete against everybody
Yeah.
all summer. How do you handle that? How do you manage that?
I think it's, for me personally, like I've obviously grown up always wanted to be the best at the sport, and you know, I get to travel, and you can complain about it if you want to, but like, you know, I get to live a really awesome life in being able to travel and do what I love and be good at it, and compete, and it's just part of the job. Like that's what you sign up for. It's part of the entry sheet. Like it's part, you know, being from that part of the world. You know, you just got to travel. So, and it's a long year, and you just kind of have to keep your head down and, you know, take your wins and your losses when it comes to when you can throw far and when you have to focus on just, you know, build a good block into the rest of the season and stuff. So, yeah, it's more about that. It's just being patient in when to throw far and when it counts the most, and, you know, take your wins and your losses when you need to. And we're taking more time to spend at home. So, you know, because obviously I've got family that's really important to me, and I like spending time with them. So we look to travel a bit more, but I get energy back from being able to go home and spend time with my wife and my family and stuff like that. So
Sounds like you married the right person.
you bet. Yeah, there's not. I tell you what, I got a lot of friends that are athletes that have had difficult relationships because it's, you know, it's a weird world to understand, and yeah, it's a very obsessive thing that you have to be completely in. And luckily, you know, my wife Mia was a thrower in the past, and yeah, she fully supports what I want to do, and yeah, you have to be very patient with the personality type that it takes to get to this kind of level. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, Mia, if you're listening, tune in again tomorrow, and you can watch your husband throw some more bombs.
Nah, easy. I appreciate the chat, guys. Well, I'm going to go do some training, but I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate
Great
it.
seeing you. All right, so we're back into the women's discus. You've been watching what's going on there while we were chatting with Maddie Denny. Coach, you got an update on the live results there?
We are struggling through a live result
Live results outage?
outage. Not as bad as our power outage. We hope that everyone at home is enjoying the live footage in our chat with Maddie Denny.
Yeah, I hope that made up for it.
Yeah, 74-25 Thursday night. And, you know, straight from the mouth of Maddie Denny, it didn't feel like that was his best movement of the day. It just happened to be the best distance of the day. So it'll be interesting to see what happens on Sunday tomorrow with the men's competition.
And he's just a great guy, isn't he? I mean, he's kind. Yeah. He's now, you know, right now he's the best in the world. And the way he conducts himself and treats everybody around here, including us, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
It's kind of him to stop by and sit in with us. And, you know, he's a big shot on this campus this weekend, and he couldn't be nicer to everybody. So he's just such a great example. Coach, you and I both coach, you know, high school kids, and we're always looking for someone where we can say to them, hey, be like him, be like her. And Maddie Denny's the guy. He's the guy. So again, we're struggling with our live results here. These ladies are.
I think Samantha Hall is going to be next in the ring.
Okay. This is a continuation of the first. We call them the first group, not the first flight.
Group C.
And Samantha Hall.
Samantha Hall is still out at 64-41, which, as Dan mentioned before, is a PR for her. I don't think that is an improvement. We are in round 5 as far as I can tell, and I think that if I can help you by running through where we're at right now, Lisa Bree Pedersen is at 54-12. Alexa Freeman is at 56-39. Kirsty Law, 58-12. Essence Henderson, 58-39. Anna Sophia Nielsen, 58-49. Nora Money, 58-92. Gabby Jacobs, 61-29. And Samantha Hall still at 64-41 is our leader in Group C. And here we go. This is, I believe this is Essence Henderson, round 6.
Samantha Hall, by the way, 31 years old, 3-time Jamaican national champion. She came in with a PB of 62.94, and she has exceeded that. Not a great series, but doesn't matter. It only takes one, huh?
Absolutely.
Although she would like to get a few more centimeters and get that 64.50 World Championship auto qualifier.
Yeah, she comes out of the ring smiling, but I think she knew that wasn't her best.
Essence came in with a PB 59.86, which she set last year at this World Invite competition. I believe that's Doug Reynolds she's chatting with there.
I missed it.
Former top-notch discus thrower right there.
Yeah, Doug Reynolds, one of the best discus coaches in the country.
So 59.86 for her PB. She's close. She got one more attempt. She's close at 58.39.
This is Lisa. And that'll be a foul to finish her day.
Lisa Brie Pedersen, personal best 62.22. She was 7th at the Euro Throwing Cup a few weeks ago, 58.49. She's a 6-time national champion.
You know, one of the hardest things, I think, you want to come here and take advantage of the wind. The persona or the rumor, the legend
Of the wind, yeah.
of the wind grows, but it puts a little pressure on these athletes. Alexa Freeman, her 6th-round throw, she's trying to build off a 56.39.
She's dedicating her performance today to her bearded dragon, Mushu.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I don't think he's in town. I think she left him at home with her beloved husband, Josh Freeman, former outstanding shot putter.
What's up, Josh?
And what's up, Mushu?
That's her best throw of the day, 58.59. She's moving up to 4th place in this group. But again, not the mark she wanted today.
Yeah, nicely done. Alex, 2023 Oceania champion representing the Northern Mariana Islands. In college, she competed for Oklahoma and SIU, Southern Illinois University.
It's Christy Law from Scotland. I really enjoy her personality, how she approaches it. She's been doing this a long time and doing it really well.
She is a warrior.
She's at 58.12, which is right around her season best. And that is her last throw. She's waiting for the mark to come up, as we are too.
Kirsty got 7th at the 2022 Commonwealth Games. She was Scottish national champ 2019 and 2020. She just loves throwing.
56.26 is her last throw of the day.
Yeah. You can see how happy she is. She just enjoys throwing. She loves coming here to Oklahoma. She just loves laying it out there in that wind.
We just missed this, but I think she was going to give Maggie Euan, who came and wanted to give her some support today, a big hug just off screen there. Maggie Euan, we'll see her in the shot put tomorrow. I believe Nora Moni is next in the ring.
Are you starting to understand why the Amish live the way they do with no technology?
Well, I will say this. If you took my cell phone away from me, I might be lost for a little bit. But I think I could recalibrate.
I do too. I think you would regain your sanity quickly.
Who is this? Nora? Yes, dude, okay?
Yeah.
I think my wife would enjoy it if I lost my cell phone.
I think the Amish might be onto something, Coach.
And then there's pumpkin there.
So Nora Moni at 58.92 is in 3rd place in Group C.
Normoni representing Cameroon. Personal best 59.86 last April at Throwtown. That's the Cameroonian national record, Coach.
Awesome. 57.22 is her last throw of the day, so she will finish at 58.92. Sorry.
That's all right. She was national champion 23 and 24. And, you know, these are nice throws, but like we were talking about, you come here to try to take a whack at that standard, and for the ladies, it's 64.50.
This is Anna Sophia.
Anna Sophia seems to be quite comfortable today for someone who just got entered in the competition about 10 minutes before warm-ups. I guess it does. She didn't have time to overthink it.
Don't overthink it. She did not know she was in the competition until about a half an hour before.
Until this guy, who I accused of being a bystander yesterday.
58.49 is her best on the day. And again, 58.49 to finish the day. 58.48.
Yeah, that's nicely done.
Consistent. 25-year-old from Denmark.
Wait, I had
Gabby
her down-
Jacobs.
I had her down as a 58.30 PB, so that's
Well,
a nice throw.
Well, there you go. 2 PBs today. She's happy.
Outstanding.
She's the biggest smile of the day so far from Group C. Gabby Jacobs had some incredibly nice throws the other night, and just not coming together for her today. And sometimes that is the discus throw.
Just had a little trouble finding some rhythm today.
So Samantha Hall, who started this thing off with a bang, her second round throw, 64.41, has been in the lead in this group the entire time, and she has one final throw to see if she can improve on that. She's got really tall through the throw. Yeah, she knew that was not it. 64.41 though for her.
Agonizingly close to that 64.50 automatic qualifier.
And for those of you, if you're new to the discus, obviously the world qualifying markets. We're in a world championship year. There'll be world championships competed. Are we calling it late summer or early fall? What would you like to call this one? It is a late rotation this year.
I'm calling that late summer, and I assume that's because of the climate in Japan.
Yeah. So in Japan, these women are competing and see if they can collect points. This is a bronze level meet here at the World Invitational in Throwtown, Ramona, and so they are earning world championship points along with prize money for this group. The World Invitational is presented by Thrower X and Throws Pro. Thrower X, online resources for throwers and coaches who want to get better. If you're a thrower or a coach who needs some resources, go and join our insider group. And if you want to become a member, there is so much great information on Thrower X. Become a part of our throws community. Throws Pro, throwing equipment you need to throw far. Go to throwspro.com. Scott Kapos there carries all the things that you might need as a thrower. Dan McQuaid, what's coming up next?
Let's take a look at this flight sheet. There's 2 more sections of women's discus. I think I got it right that time. Call them sections. Next up, we've got Ashley Anumba, Amanda Nagandu Natumba, Erica,
Bisel.
Beisel, got to coach me up on that name again. Obiageri Amici, Michaela Hazelwood, Jay Nolrich, Cece Onyekwere, and Leva Gomes.
This is a fantastic field. All these women have PRs at or over 62 meters, 64.98 for Eva is our seed mark leader in this group B that will be coming up. So we will get recalibrated, and we will see you shortly for Group B. I'm going to ask him, but I know. We're going to stay right here for just a little bit. Dan McQuaid. I think we're going to try to connect with some people maybe in between flights. We're going to see some other things later this afternoon. Obviously, the big hitters in Group A are set to start at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Because we started this first group a little bit late, we'll see if that's going to start on time. It might get pushed back a little bit. But stay tuned all day at Throws University. We're going to keep the live stream going, and we will be back with Group B and A. In between, or right before Group A starts, we're going to see a ceremonial first throw from a former world record holder and Olympic champion, Mac Wilkins. So that'll be pretty cool.
That'll be exciting. It's always nice to see Mac. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Thoreautown, Ramona. As you can see from that image, it's windy here. We got the discus wind going for group 2 of the ladies.
Good job, Graceful.
I'm Dan McQuaid from McThrows.com. I've got my partner here, Joe Frontier of Throw Big, Throw Far, and we have a special guest.
What's up, Maggie Euan?
Hiya.
I saw you on the start list and like Dan said, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
And Maggie Euan is sitting right next to us, so you're throwing the shot put tomorrow. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to be here. Never been, so I'm excited.
You know some of these folks from all your touring around the world to throw. Who are you excited to see in the discus today? You already saw some of your people throw.
I already saw some of my people with Kirsty. I mean, there's so many of them, right? Because especially in this wind, you just never know what's going to happen. You never know who's going to have just that perfect connection with the gust, you know? So
Don't look
really,
away.
Don't look away.
Maggie, did you ever throw it in a wind anything like this?
No, nothing like this. Nothing like this.
Did you set your discus PB in a windy field or in a stadium or?
I set my PB in Chula Vista, and you know, it's never like gusty, but
Yeah.
there's always a pretty good wind, and so I definitely had a little bit of carry from that.
Okay.
I know from previous chats that discus kind of had a special place in your heart as your favorite. When you see these women getting this opportunity, do you miss a little bit?
Oh, every time. Every single time I watch a discus get thrown, I miss it. But, you know, the Americans, the women that we have representing us are doing such a good job that there's no need for me to come back.
Speaking of other events, give us an update on the hammer.
Yeah. So nothing going on right now post-surgery. Really just trying to get my shot put, you know, back on track and back to a place that I can be comfortable and proud of. And then we will definitely be picking it back up.
I know you said you enjoyed the balance, the variety in your life, right? To be able to do both events.
Yeah, to be able to do both, you know, I think it's important, obviously, to like be dedicated to your sport and your event, but I also think it's good to be able to step away, you know, and when I would throw hammer, you know, like you have your dedicated day for shot, where basically all you think about is shot, and then when you're on your hammer day, you know, you don't think about shot at all, and I think that's kind of important.
So they're like a mental break from each other.
Yes, exactly.
Outstanding.
Tell us a little bit about you having to kind of manage a foot injury that you probably needed surgery for. Hard to decide to have surgery during an Olympic year. So you just kind of grinned and bared it, and then you had the surgery after the season last year.
Yes, yeah. So it was a week before indoor nationals, doing some sprinting, and felt a pop in my foot, and later found out that I'd broken a chunk off of my foot, basically on my toe bone. Which made pretty much anything going up on my toes painful. You know, walking was painful. But like you said, they said that basically it's either you kind of ride it out and see what you can do to make it work, or you get surgery. And, you know, that could mean 2 months of recovery, that could mean 6 months of recovery. And we just don't really know. And, you know, with it being the Olympic year, you just never want to take yourself out of that fight, you know. And
Do you know how many throwers you made happy by saying you hurt yourself sprinting? Every thrower in the world has been trying to convince their coach that running is harmful, and you
stated the case.
Yeah.
Yes, you can use me as the prime
As an example.
Don't
Coach,
do it.
we really got to back down on these sprint reps. So the foot's feeling better now?
Yes, much better. So I had the surgery. It's feeling much better. They say, you know, with these kind of things, anything sort of bone related, kind of like Deanna and her ankle. I talked to her a lot, like right around the time that it happened, and say it takes about a year for it to get back to pretty much normal, where you don't feel it at all anymore. So there's little twinges here and there, but nothing really holding me back anymore.
And how do you feel technically? You said that you were kind of like working around your foot.
Yeah.
You feeling like you're 75% there, 90% there? Like, are you happy with where things are headed at least?
Yeah, I am super, super happy with where things are headed. Me and my coach, both, you know, like we're really, really happy with the things that we're seeing, the things that I'm feeling, and now it's kind of just a matter of the rep battle, getting the reps that I need back in before I can actually get to that confident place, like in a competition.
Okay, Dan, give us a quick update on what's happening in the ring right now.
Jaden Ulrich just caught one. She came in with a 66-meter season's best, personal best. She just went 69. 39.
Jaden Ulrich, nuclear here in round 1 of Section B of the women's discus. And we will keep you posted on more events as you're watching and listening to us chat with Maggie Euan.
She's just a star, isn't she? I love her.
She is a multi-talented. I know some multi-talented throwers.
Indeed. Maggie, how's your world ranking holding up after being...
I think I dropped down to 14th last
Okay,
year.
okay.
After everything.
And not to get personal, but is your funding stable? I know that's a constant worry in your
So
business.
Yeah. So funding is stable via the USATF, the tier program.
Yeah.
So the federation is still there, but there's no longer a sponsor in my world.
Okay.
So no Nike, nothing like that.
Wow.
going on.
That's their loss, by the way.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
We'll remind them when we see them.
Yeah,
Good
but
God.
so working with Ironwood this year.
Okay, good.
They're helping support, the journey this year.
Good. And will you be getting in the Diamond League meets as you used to?
So far I'm not in the China meets. So these coming up here in 2-3 weeks, but I've been accepted into pre.
Oh, good.
And I'm hoping, that by the time, pre and Monaco and the last couple roll around, that, I've gotten my mark back up to something where they're like, yeah, we want to see you again.
So that's what it is. They're probably monitoring your
think
marks.
so.
That's a tough business.
so.
Wasn't that long ago you were Diamond League champion?
Yeah. I mean, it's a performance-based industry, and when you're not performing, it's
Wow.
hard for them to ask you to
Wow.
come back.
Maggie, we're so happy you could join us. I hope that the foot keeps healing,
Yes.
technique keeps coming together, and we can't wait to watch you throw tomorrow.
Oh, thank you. I can't wait.
Thanks, Maggie.
Thank you.
All right, my friends, we're going to get into round 2 here.
So that was the throw that that everybody's looking for right there, huh?
Yeah, and the exciting part is Jaden's going to have 5 more rounds to build off of that or backfill. Sometimes I feel like when you have a big PR, you got to go back and fill in some of the blanks in between the PR and the huge new number.
Yeah. And how about the emotion too? What do you think the odds are that she's gonna have 5 more throws? Will she be able to calm down and?
Matty Denny was so locked in the other night when we had him earlier today talking on the mic. He was elusive when I was kind of getting to that. Like, how do you manage that excitement versus I'm completely locked into my technique? Sometimes you get too excited, you go out and you try to do too much on the next throw.
Yeah, you lose your feel, and who could blame him? That'll be a key on Sunday when he's taking on Mikolas, right? Because you could throw a world record, and you still got to keep your act together, right? Because you may need farther
No doubt.
to win that meet.
Amanda Ngundu Natumba with a 63-meter throw.
Well, that's a nice one. Oh yeah, her PB was 62.03, so that's a nice personal best for Amanda.
Fantastic.
Out of the University of Cincinnati.
The wind is winding for us. Erica Beisel, who had a huge throw, 66-68 recently, to shatter the NCAA 2 women's discus record. She throws for Grand Valley State. She has a foul in her first 2 rounds, and she has been in a position where you got to find a way to put something together in round 3 so she can earn more throws.
It's interesting too with Erica because she's used to maybe not this wind, but they get a pretty nice wind around Grand Valley State. So hopefully she'll be able to calm down and find her groove here.
This is Obi Amici?
Yeah. What do they call that? Your flow state?
Yeah,
Erica's
you
gotta find
were
her
talking
flow
about flow state earlier.
state. Yeah. Got to find it. I'm still looking for it.
Michaela Hazelwood in her first round went 59-37. She is in third. Amanda from Cincinnati is in second at 63-59 with that aforementioned PB. And Jaden Ulrich, obviously, 69-39. I cannot wait to watch her get back in the ring, have another opportunity. That's Michaela Hazelwood we're watching.
Shayla's personal best 63.85 set here.
And that's an improvement over her first round throw, 60-41. So she's working herself into good space. Here's Jaden Ulrich again with throw number 2. That one looks
Like she
like
talked
it
out
might be
maybe.
wide right foul.
And again, understandable. You throw a 3-meter PB.
You have to manage. You had to manage that aggressiveness though.
It's
on
hard
the
to
next
calm
round.
down.
It's so hard. Yeah, she's like, did I do too much, coach? I might have done too much. There's the great Corey Martin, Louisville coach.
Jaden, by the way, is the proud owner of 2 spoiled cats.
That's a fact. She told me about that on the podcast. She had me laughing.
She had a great experience in Paris. She said it was her first time leaving the country, the Paris Olympics. That's the right way to do it, huh?
And go big or go home.
Yeah. That's CC. Her personal best 64.96 at Throwtown in 23.
Ciciana Quere. She's recently been married. Her last
Really?
name is now Lyons, which is much easier to say than
That
Anya
was
Quere.
nice of her. That was nice of her to do that. Taking some pity on us.
59.97 for her, so she improved on her 57.50 first round throw. She's in 4th place currently, but she is looking for a bigger throw. 64 meters is her PR.
She was 2022 Commonwealth Games champ. And that's a big deal. You know, in America, we don't pay much attention to that, although we should probably be in it because we used to be part of the Commonwealth. But that's a big deal. That was a big moment for her. That's Eva Gomes from Lithuania. She spends half the year in the United States. She married an American. Half the year in Lithuania training. She's coached in Lithuania by her mom.
That's so cool.
Her PB 64.98 last year in Throwtown.
She is in Erica's spot where she has 2 fouls and she is going to have to find a mark
Oh, man.
to move forward.
You don't want to waste this opportunity to try to get that world qualifier of 64.50. Back to Ashley.
Ashley Anumba.
Ashley's PB 61.98. She was 2024 African champion, 2023 Nigerian champion. In college, she threw for the University of Pennsylvania, then the University of Virginia. She was a 2024 Olympian. There we go. 58 meters even on that toss.
We're back to Amanda. She hit that pretty well. 63.59, building off a PR already.
As you can see, she throws for the University of Cincinnati. She's from France. This is her first year at Cincinnati. At the age of 24, she'll probably be there. Her coach estimated for 2 years. And she's a promising talent. She's trying to get that 64.52 so she can represent France
She's close.
in the Worlds.
She's the best dressed thrower of the day so far, in my
Yes, she
opinion.
is. I wonder who the best dressed announcer is, though.
No one can see us, and that's a good thing, Dan.
We're tied for best and worst dressed.
61.28, round 3.
Here's
And again,
Erica.
Erica
She needs a mark. Oh, just could not find her field today.
She couldn't. Well, that's going to be disappointing. You know, it's a big trip to come down and try to find even a bigger mark, but she is having just an incredible season, and I think that we will see more for her later. Fortunately, not today.
Yeah, she's got a long way to go this season. Last year, she was 4th at the Olympic trials with 62.50.
Yeah, just an incredible performance. She PR'd in the Olympic trial prelims, and then PR'd again in the final coming 4th.
That's crazy.
She was not afraid of playing with the big girls.
She's not afraid. And that, that bodes well. So tough day today, but you got to figure she's going to be back in the mix at the World Trials later this year.
Obiyomichi. An improvement for her, 59.97, almost at 60 meters. She's going to see 3 more throws. 62.92 is her PR, so she's working on that. Here's Michaela Hazelwood again.
Michaela 7th in the 2024 Olympic trials. 2021, she was 2nd at the trials with 62.54, but she didn't get the standard or the ranking.
That's exactly right.
So she
and
didn't get to go.
She's had some injuries, a pec tear since then.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
to see her battling back is a fantastic thing. I hope she can work herself back into shape here.
What did I do? Oh, there it is.
Not an improvement for her, but 60.41. She's in 3rd place in Group B. And here's Jaden Ulrich again. That's going to be a foul. She went out the front. Yep.
It's really hard.
69-39.
Oh my goodness.
Well, if she went foul, and you throw 69-39, do you care?
Nope, I don't think you do. I don't think you do.
I think she'll be celebrating with her cats later regardless.
Yeah, and she's a tough big meat thrower too. Was in the Olympics last year, so you can say what you will about throwing far in the wind. She knows how to throw far at a big meet like in Olympic trials.
Cece was one of the women who threw, I thought, incredibly well on Thursday night, despite the fact that we were in the dark and there was, much less wind than during the men's competition in the early afternoon.
Crazy.
She threw really well that night.
That was not a night that you would volunteer to measure discus throws.
She's out over 63 meters.
Wow.
On Thursday. 64-12 is her PR. Dane Miller, what's up? 61-02.
Okay, she might be finding a little rhythm there.
Absolutely, moves up to third place.
She can cheer up a bit. Eva next.
I believe this is the last throw in trials.
Okay, she needs a mark. Looks like she got one, yes?
She struck that nicely. I thought,
Okay.
so she is foul, and so whatever this is, it will be better than not having any more throws today.
And this will buy her 3 more, right? I'm assuming?
I think she stayed in the ring, so.
Okay. Eva's the 7-time national shot put champion of Lithuania. 7-time national discus champ. That's a lot of hardware, Coach.
You do both well, that makes you bad to the bone. 51-03, who cares? She gets 3 more throws, so she's punched a ticket into more opportunity here.
Just needs to relax a little bit. Regroup. Now, in the last group, they gave him a few warm-up throws before the final 3.
Yeah, I think they might have been working on some live result issues, so I'm not sure if we'll just jump right into it or not.
So somebody needs to sabotage live results so these ladies can maybe get a couple of extra throws to find their groove. I feel like
The World Invitational at Throwtown Ramona is brought to you by Thrower X and Throws Pro. Other sponsors of the World Invitational are Roadie Sport, Fiber Sport, and Visit Tulsa. If you have not made a trip to Throwtown Ramona and you're looking forward to another opportunity, the Oklahoma Throw Series, if you go to Caleb Seal's Seal Throwing Club website and look up the Oklahoma Throw Series, there's all sorts of opportunities. They are not all World Invitationals.
They are not.
But if you are a thrower who wants to come and test your mettle against the wind, I highly encourage you to visit Tulsa and get your discus throwers to Throwtown Ramona. It's a great opportunity to catch some wind and hopefully some big marks like these pros are.
Speaking of more opportunities, there's going to be a competition here on Monday, which I believe is it was a makeup for a canceled competition.
Yeah.
And I saw Rachel Dinkoff out by the ring. I wrote a piece about Rachel, an interview about her and her comeback from triple Achilles surgery. 3 of those babies.
Unbelievable.
Wiped out 2 years essentially. But she did not qualify for the competition today because she completely lost her world ranking.
Yep.
Being out of it for 2 years. So she'll be thrown on Monday, and she's getting ready to restart her career again. She showed incredible patience. Can you imagine? You blow out your Achilles, you get it fixed, it doesn't work,
You got to redo it.
and then you got to redo it again. But she's back and she's ready to go on Monday.
A lot of these professional throwers are here for multiple weekends. I just talked to Lisa Bree Pedersen, and she is here for 4 or 5 competitions. So
Yeah,
a lot of
she's
these
gonna throw on
athletes
Monday as well.
will be throwing on Monday and might stay through next weekend to catch some more opportunities to throw big and throw far. Hey, we are joined by my good friend Scott Kapos. He is the owner of Throws Pro and one of the partners at Thrower X. Scott, what's going on, man?
Hey, glad to join you guys. It's been fun watching some of the great throws so far and just interacting with some of the best throwers in the world. It's like throwers heaven over here.
Now you are multitasking this weekend because not only are you sponsoring this event, but your son, who is an athlete at Arizona State University, threw in the shot put.
Yeah, it was fun to get a chance to watch him compete. he's probably as big of a throwing fan as I know. I think it's very comparable to you two guys, Joe and Dan. And so he actually purchased a ticket before he even knew about competing in the event. So he was.
He wanted to come and check it out.
Yep, he wanted to watch everybody and get to meet some great throwers, and he's had a chance to meet some amazing throwers. Just met Matt Wilkins and several others. So it's been a great event so far, and it's just exciting just to have that in the family and watching him kind of grow as an athlete to someone that's really into the sport and someday wants to coach and be more involved in helping the professionals if he doesn't make it to them.
Scott, speaking of the coaching business, I'd like to take you way back to your high school experience at Oaklawn High School in the south suburbs of Chicago, because you had a coach who was really unusual for his time. And I have to tell you, he inspired me to go into coaching because he was so kind. When I was like 19 years old, I just called him up and said, "Coach, can I come over and look at throwing film with you?" And he said yes. And the idea that you could really be serious about it as a coach and that you could really have success if you did things the right way, that really inspired me. Can you tell us about your high school experience with Coach Dunn?
Yeah, so I was coached by someone named George Dunn Jr., who passed away recently and about 95 years old. And so my high school had a great tradition of throwers. And in fact, but out of my whole family, I have two older brothers that were way better athletes than me, and both played baseball and were semi-professional baseball players, played junior college football. But they said, "Scott, if you want to do something beyond high school, you've got to be a thrower." And so that's how I got into throwing. I had a limited success in junior high, and then I worked with Coach Dunn. I got third in my PE class in the fall of my freshman year. So I was the third best thrower in my PE class. Not just the whole school, but within my PE class.
Yeah.
And so from there, I just kept working hard and had great guidance. And I remember him telling me, I was a sophomore, and said, "Someday you might be able to be a state champion and keep on throwing."
He could see
college. He could see it right away. So I was fortunate to have, the right athletic abilities, but also to me it was the work ethic and having the right guidance. So from my high school, some of you guys that know, like Jerry Clayton. Jerry was coaching at the University of Illinois then. A lot of the throwers from my high school went on and threw for Jerry. And between myself and the athletes at the University of Illinois, we won 14 Big Ten championships in the shot put.
Holy cow.
From one high school.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
And we had 8 60-footers in 10 years.
I remember that. I remember when I was a freshman in high school, we had a meet against you guys, and I was trying like crazy to throw 30 feet. And John Marks, is it John Marks?
John Marks
He was a senior, and he just stepped in and threw 60 feet, and I just about wet myself. I'm like, oh my, how? But that was the middle of this run where 60 feet was just nothing for your school.
Scott and I spent a lot of time in throwing education, and we're all coaches, Dan and I, and Scott as well. But George Dunn's Throws Manual was the very first
that's right.
book that I purchased as a young coach 25 years ago, and you've written a book since then, updating kind of probably some of the ideas you learned from George, but all the things you've learned while you were the University of Iowa coach, University of Nebraska throws coach for all those years.
Yeah, I thought, it's kind of a tribute to him. His was the Throws Manual, and I named my book the Shot Put and Discus Manual. And a lot of it is some of the same ideas of things that I did back in high school, all the way through college and as a professional. A lot of that was based on what Coach Dunn was doing. And, there's a lot of trends that come and go. But, one of the things I learned was keeping the intensity up in training throughout the year. You really more undulate the volume sometimes for you throwers that are also doing some of your training. And so you don't want to drop off the weights a lot. And that's one of the things I learned. And I was able to maintain my peak for a longer period of time because of some of those concepts I learned from Coach Dunn, which he learned from people that were training guys like Alf Timmerman and Andre from Italy, all the best throwers in the world. He was communicating with all those coaches via mail. So they would just send letters back and forth to each other, and because it wasn't like it is now, but the information was really valuable, and some of that stuff gets lost a little bit over time. But I think the concepts of what they were doing back then are very similar to the things we're doing nowadays.
He was ahead of his time. We would call that block periodization now, right? Where you don't do the long peak and then the long layoff.
Yes.
But that's He was ahead of his day.
Yep. We were talking to people like Jimmy Piamani, who's real popular back in that time, and several others. They were talking about even things like general training, general prep. There really is no general prep. It's maybe a couple weeks, three or four weeks, depending on how long your season is. But you're doing throws preparation all the time.
Right.
You don't all of a sudden say, well, general prep, I'm not going to throw. There's not enough time for that, even
Right.
in the college system.
Right.
So you're always evolving the training, and you're always focused on trying to become, I always think, for younger athletes, a better athlete and a better thrower. And then as you get more mature, you get to the level where some of these throwers are. Everything's focused on what you need to do to throw far.
Right.
That last round throw was Jaden Ulrich, 63-16. She's out at 69-39, but that's also her second best throw of the day. And so we are entering round 5, and Erica Beistel is still looking for a mark here. I'm so glad that they gave her 3 more throws. I wasn't sure if they were going to.
Well, the coach at Louisville, Corey Martin, he's an Indiana guy and went to Auburn, and you guys probably talked about him a little bit. He's one of the few people that are a rare double of winning the hammer and the shot put in the NCAA.
And he won them both on his last attempt.
Did he really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, you don't see too many of those kind of doubles. And we talked about Scott Russell. I saw him earlier, the rare double of the weight and the javelin. And I should have posted something about this, but I remember some Wendy Dean, she won the javelin and the hammer.
Wow.
And that's an odd combination.
That's a very unique.
She was a great in both events. Coached by Dave Woolman, who has Second Eye Consulting, who's one of the elite coaches out there, even to this day, had a phenomenal run at SMU. So, and if you're a younger coach just learning, you don't need to be a great thrower. You don't need even a throw. We talked about George Dunn. I'm like, Coach Dunn, what was your event? How far did you throw? He's like, well, I was 5th place in my conference in the hurdles in high school. That was his track and field experience.
That's fantastic. And there's, another someone who kind of inherited the mantle of George Dunn, Bob Niles, in the Chicago suburbs, who used to coach at Lake Park High School, who put together a string of 60-footers. Same thing. He was never a thrower.
Scott Bennett, never a thrower, and is
right.
a journeyman college throws coach, and helps me out at throw big, throw far.
Now, I remember Bob Niles. He'd come to Oak Lawn Community High School when I was in high school to learn about the throws from Coach Dunn.
Yeah, fantastic.
Coach Dunn, he helped create what back then was TAC, now USA Track and Field. He helped create the coaching education system for the throws. And he actually helped create the coaching system for the IAAF.
Wow.
So he was kind of the pioneer of the coaching systems.
I'm not surprised in that he was always generous. He was always kind.
So is that one of the reasons why you got into your interest in coaching education? Obviously, Thrower X, online resources for throwers and coaches who want to get better. Scott and I we're both doing kind of online education before we kind of combined forces, but I know you also teach USATF level classes, and it was Coach Dunn really the inspiration for that?
It's kind of I didn't know what I wanted to do, especially like a lot of high school kids, but when I was a junior in high school, I started helping some of the younger throwers. He's like, you got a good eye for coaching. Maybe you ought to go into coaching. And that's what I did. So it's kind of something as simple as that. Just a little bit of encouragement to find a direction for myself. And so that kind of sparked it. And then, I went through the coaching education system with USA Track and Field. I still teach 6 or 7 level 1 courses via Zoom every year. We've got a lot going on with Thrower X and really trying to help the throws community grow. And, something like Thrower X, it's for very serious coaches and athletes, but it's also for the beginners. And that's something we tried to develop. Joe and I tried to really work on getting things that are for every level. Because I remember going to a clinic when I was coaching at the University of Iowa, and Joe was there, and I did something with specific strength training for the throws. And I remember Joe coming up to me, and I didn't know Joe back then at all, and he said, this was really refreshing. It's the first time I've heard a clinic where someone talked about something more than just the basics. Yeah. And I think that's really important because we're always looking for those little nuggets to get better.
I think that was the first time we met, and that was almost 20 years ago, maybe. Yep. Scott, tell us about Throws Pro. You've got all sorts of different implement companies. What are all the companies that you carry on Throws Pro?
So I started Throws Pro. It was kind of my son and I, Sam, we mentioned throws at Arizona State. We're like, well, I wrote a book, so I need a website for the book. So we sat around for about half an hour just bantering different names around, and we came up with Throws Pro.
I like
so
it.
Like, okay, I got basically a placeholder now for my book. And then I started working with some different equipment companies to sell equipment after I stopped college coaching as I pursued my master's degree. I was going to go into more administration, but I kind of decided not to. And so then I started just talking to different companies. I became a gill dealer. I contacted Nishi. I contacted Polonic, Fiber Sport, Nemeth. And so I just started contacting these different brands, and all of a sudden I started to get some world-class athletes buying equipment from me. And since I had a great network of coaches through the college system, they started buying equipment through me. But now with our website presence, our coaching education presence, you know, we're getting hundreds and hundreds of orders a month now, and it's really grown to almost 500 orders a month.
Fantastic.
We've had over $1 million in business in about 2 years, so it's really grown into some kind of almost monstrosity that's hard for me to handle by myself. But I am. If you call, I answer the phone. If you send an email, I answer the email.
Fantastic.
Eventually, you know, I'm hoping to grow it even more. I think that's something Joe and I have talked about. Getting some more systems in place, but it's really about just trying to help the athletes get better. I'll spend half an hour on a phone with someone talking about different javelins, or what the difference is between discuses, and so to me that was important. And now that we've started to get some success, I really want to give back to the throwing community, and that's why I wanted to be one of the sponsors for this event at Throwstown.
Yeah, fantastic. Is it difficult for a discus thrower to pick the right discus?
I think it can be. I think a lot of these events, especially like the javelin and the discus, there's different ratings, but none of it's consistent throughout different brands. So I always say, when in doubt, I'd always go with a lower rim weight, cheaper discus before I buy the bigger, fancier discus.
And is it important that I guess ideally someone else would have a certain discus so you could throw it a little bit and get the feel for it, right? To know if it's right.
Yeah, I think if you've had some different options, or you could try them out from maybe your school has a couple different options.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get too caught up in rim weights, trying to get maybe something that feels right in your hand.
Yeah.
The placebo effect of like, oh, this feels good. Don't worry about the rim weight. Make it fly, and worry about rim weight later.
My good friend used to own a music shop, and he had about 100 ukuleles, and I used to play the ukulele for my students. And I found the same thing. You couldn't order ukulele online. You shouldn't, because they all feel different, just like discuses do. And you just had to go play them a little bit and get that feel. I think it's the same at least for discus. I don't know if shot put is as sensitive.
No, probably not. I think there's different brands. Like we carry a Nordic Valhalla, which we think is one of the best shot puts in the world, and the price is very reasonable.
Yeah.
The Nishis are great, but they are very expensive. And a lot of world-class throwers like those, probably not the right shot for someone who's younger.
Yeah.
So usually like a steel shot or even a turned iron shot is good for basic throwing.
Right.
Even a lot of cast iron shots. I had a middle school in Chicago that wanted some shots. I'm like, I'm going to tell you the cheapest shot puts I sell, because if it's for a middle school and kids have never thrown, there's no sense of
they're not going to feel the difference.
Crazy like that.
Yep.
So yeah, we get a lot of those questions from coaches and athletes about what type of implement to throw. And, I think they're surprised when I don't try to upsell them to the biggest, fanciest implement out there.
You didn't sell the 8th graders Nishis? I got a great deal for you, $400 per disc.
But we talk about those things. Like I talked to Mac Wilkins. We were at the Illinois High School Clinic a few months ago, and I saw him again here today. Like, he said, I don't know what I threw. It was like some pacer gill thing. He said, I have no idea what the rim weight was.
Yeah.
I threw it far.
Yeah, you just enjoyed throwing it.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of the case.
Yeah.
But I think it's a little more fine-tuned now, but usually like the mid-weight discus is probably the best for most of your throwers.
Okay, that's good advice.
Folks who are listening, if you need to find Scott, you're going to go to throwspro.com. You can follow Scott on Instagram at Scott Capos. You can find us at ThrowerX or Throws Pro on Instagram. If you need equipment, go to Throws Pro. If you'd like some coaching information and some coaching education opportunity, join our insider group on Thrower X. Scott Kapos, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys. You're doing a great job. Appreciate it.
Great to see you, man.
You guys keep up the great work.
Thank you. Obi just had a nice throw, Coach.
63.01. She moves up to third on her final round throw. 206.8. And we are down to our final three competitors in Group B of the women's discus today.
I got a wind update, Coach. Let me just open this message from Christoph up on the field. Max wind during this flight has been 7.2 meters per second. During actual throws, the max was 6.3 meters per second and to a minimum of 3.5 per second.
So I think we talked about it in an earlier broadcast, but Denny's throw the other day, his 74-meter throw was at 5.5, which matched actually the wind speed of Mikolos Alekna's world record throw last
really
year.
Close.
So 7.2 is much bigger, but obviously it doesn't, the wind's not blowing consistently. Somewhere between 3 and 7 is a lot more wind than I usually get in Wisconsin, that's for sure.
Yeah. And Christoph is measuring during each throw. So
Yes.
he has precise measurements. Jane Ulrich hit her 69-meter throw with 5.1 meters per second. I wonder if that 5 point something is the sweet spot.
Michaela Hazeold finishes with her best throw of the day, 61.04. So here we go. Round 6, throwers are putting things together. Cece's not an improvement on her final throw, 61.02, and I believe she threw better Thursday. So we've got Amanda
Amanda is having a great day.
from University of Cincinnati. I feel like she's been the most consistent thrower in this group.
Her worst throw 59. Everything else between 61 mid and 61.28 and 63.59. That's a great day. Yeah,
No
she's
doubt.
giving her coach a hug. Heck yeah.
Great Susan Seen.
Fantastic coach.
Fantastic coach at University of Cincinnati. She's the head coach there, and she just does fantastic work.
She coached Annette to a Olympic medal in the hammer last summer.
Absolutely.
She's got Fred, who's a fine shopper. He'll be in the mix for the NCAA outdoor meet.
Here's our final throw. Jaden Ulrich, 69.39, with the best throw of the day so far. Can she build on that? It's a big number. I don't know.
She's going home happy. She's
But
gonna
like,
go home and
yeah,
spoil
we
those
said that
cats
before.
even more.
If you follow the next 5 throws after going 69.39, you walk out of the ring smiling anyway. Yeah, I'm guessing she'll.
Fantastic. Her and Coach Corey Martin. We were just talking about him with Scott.
Good job. We'll take that 69.39 to the bank.
Well done, young lady.
65.38 is nothing to sneeze at. Great 6-round throw. But 69.39, Jaden Ulrich is your winner of the Group B World Invitational here at Throwtown Ramona. Congratulations, Jaden.
Coach, we promised bombs. We got one.
Absolutely.
69 meters.
We are going to have a short break here before we see our C group, which will probably start about 3 o'clock. It was scheduled at 3 o'clock. We're kind of getting back on schedule after a pause earlier in the day. But this Group A, let us read who we're going to see this afternoon.
It's a heck of a lineup, Coach.
Slated to throw in Group A at 3 o'clock, Alexandra Emelianov, Daisy Osaki, Alita Vandalen, Valerie Allman, Melina Robert-Michon, Veronica Fraley, Lagi Tasaga Collins, and Yaimi Perez. 8 of the best throwers in the entire world, and if they can harness anything approaching what Jaden Ulrich did, we might have a very, very special day on our hands.
I think we are about to. Maybe you and I ought to go take a nap, rest up,
Agreed.
and maybe we should go hose down that transformer so it doesn't blow again with all the energy.
I want
circulating.
to give a shout out to Thrower X and Throws Pro. It's so nice of Scott to stop by. Roadie Sport, go check out roadiesport.com. RODHE, shot put gloves, wrist straps, hammer gloves. Fiber Sport, check out the entire line of Fiber Sport discs at Fiber Sport. I also believe Throws Pro carries Fiber Sports. And also visit Tulsa. A big shout out to the entire University Throws University garage strength crew that is here today working on producing these live streams. Dan and I are just the voices you hear, but there are a lot of guys working hard behind the scenes. I also want to give a shout out to Kara Winger, the entire officiating crew, Caleb Seal, Don Milikin. It takes a lot of people to put on a show like this, put on an opportunity for throwers to catch big throws.
Do you think there's a reason they have us hidden in this shed here?
You guys, we are in a shed about, we can see, if we poked our head out the edge of the shed, we could see the throws happening. But we are happy to see all these amazing camera angles that Throws University crew is putting together for us. I think they put us in the shed on purpose.
I do too. They didn't want us to distract from the throwing, I think.
Benefits of being on the shed is that the barbecue station is right next to us.
And we are not being murdered by dehydration. Death by dehydration with the, stiff wind. I don't know how many miles an hour it is, but in the sun, holy guacamole. That can mess up a guy's hair.
Absolutely.
Hey, we're back here at Throwtown Ramona, between flights. Had a huge throw out of group number 2.
That's true.
Jana Ulrich from the University of Louisville, 69 meters.
What a fantastic performance from her. It's a current world lead as Don Milikin, who is the master of not only this place, but also checking stats.
Yeah, that's an accountant, you have to do these things.
We are very honored to be joined by Don Milikin. This field is named after him. A lot of this is possible. Don, I had such a great chat with you when you were on the podcast a few months ago. Tell us about the short version of how all this came together. Where did your passion for the throws come, and when did you just start deciding to pour some of your energy into creating this place?
Yeah, I mean, the passion comes from the fact that Discus was my ticket to college. I went to University of North Texas on a track scholarship. The Discus, 54 years ago.
Wow.
But I've always loved the throws. And then during the pandemic, you couldn't go in the gym, so I said, you know what? I think I may start throwing again.
Yeah.
So I started throwing. I cooked up with Caleb Seal, who was having these little meets where he was borrowing, sneaking on to high school campuses.
I think they call that trespassing.
It was trespassing. It was. I mean, we thought the police
What's the statute of limitations? We're safe.
Oh, yeah.
We're safe.
Yeah.
We thought that the police were coming in and run us off one time, and we had people driving in from the Dakotas and come flying in from Florida and whatever to compete on this rinky-dink situation. And I'm going, what is going on here? And then I realized that there's really are not a lot of opportunities for post-collegiate athletes.
Yep, that's
to
true.
compete. And I said, we need to do something about this. And so Caleb and I talked about it, found some property, bought it, leveled it. We said, what does Oklahoma have? We have wind, okay? So what can we do to make it better? We can make it to where no matter which direction the wind is blowing, we can have a ring that works for that. And try to build basically what could be a discus mecca. So that was the origin of it.
Wow, mission accomplished.
I titled the podcast after the interview, and it was a little bit of a question mark at the end, although I didn't put the question mark in the title, but I just said Throwtown Ramona, the center of the discus universe. It seems like, especially with the sheer number of international throwers who have descended on Ramona, Oklahoma this weekend, that you've created the center of the discus universe.
I never would have dreamed that we would be at this point. I thought maybe after years, of having meets, it might grow into something like this. And, then 2 years ago, Alex Rose and Cece show up, just happened to show up. And, Alex hit the world lead mark, and Cece broke the African women's record, and everybody was like, what in the world, is this going on in this cow pasture? and then the next year we said, Caleb and I talked about it. Let's try to get a bronze meet, and we had to figure out what's all required for that, and had it, and obviously world record for the men, but even Yami, people kind of talk about that as being the clean world record. I mean, you have to go back into the 80s, and I think there were some drugs going on then.
So they say.
So they say.
What have you seen as growth? How many circles did you start with when after you leveled this place? How many pieces of concrete had a discus ring in it to begin with?
When we first built it, we had 3, and now we have 6.
Yeah, and so I was talking about this earlier in the broadcast, but basically you've got 3 opportunities from each end of this field, and not only are they just at the opposite ends of the field, but they're pitched just a little bit differently angle-wise, so that you can kind of harness this is a right cross, this is a right quartering wind. We saw the lefty discus on Thursday morning. You've really created opportunities for you to be able to shift and take advantage of the best possible wind for these competitions.
Yeah, in fact we added a ring this last winter to catch the west wind. West wind was a killer because there was no direction we had. It was either a tailwind or a headwind. So we built one on the north side to catch the west wind, and now I think we can do from any direction. The only thing we can't do anything about is zero wind. But in April in Oklahoma, that's pretty rare.
Indeed.
So on Thursday during the open meet, we saw you and 2 other 72-year young discus throwers, and Dan and I our biggest question of the day was there a gentleman's bet for pride, or was there any money on the line? Breakfast at Denny's? Was there a wager?
There was no wager. It was only for pride.
Just pride, huh?
It was only
Okay,
for pride.
okay.
And Ed Davis is now the world lead.
Okay.
And Guy Durkin is number 2 in the world.
All right.
I'm sadly only number 12. So
All right.
You got bumped down.
I did. Yeah,
That's going to make you hungry for training the off season.
absolutely. Well, I'm still in season. We're going.
That's right. That's right. Hey,
We're still going.
the season is not over yet, but
Just starting.
the World Invitational weekend has been amazing so far, and I can't wait to watch this Group A of women's discus. We're going to get started shortly, and then tomorrow, the big boys are back.
Holy
back.
guacamole.
They're back. It's going to be amazing to watch.
Hey, Don, could you explain to us? A lot of people are curious about the prize money system that you've set up. Could you talk us through that?
Well, I mean, we have several things. We have prize money for the actual events, first, second, through 8th place. But we also have performance bonuses, $2,000 for hitting the world championship qualifier. We give that once in a season, and it doesn't matter if you've already qualified somewhere else, if you do it here.
Okay, excellent.
And then area records, like Matt Denny for the Oceania, that's $5,000. World leading mark is another $5,000. World records, $15,000. So we stack them. Some places don't. We stack them.
That's pretty generous.
It's,
Well, these kids deserve support. They do.
well, man, we saw Maddie Denny stack a whole bunch of stuff on in terms of prizes and accomplished, achieved. I don't think that that number might stand. We talked to Maddie Denny earlier, and he's certainly interested in trying to throw farther tomorrow.
Yeah, I told him we better wait to count things up until the weekend's over.
It's too early for the tally.
That's
Really
probably a
early
good
for the
policy.
tally.
Good policy.
Yeah, and I'd love to be out more. That would be so great. Another world record, particularly.
Your generosity is just fantastic. It means so much to all these athletes. One, giving them a chance to come here, get that standard. That's a life changer.
It's a big deal.
We talked about Mika Sosna last year.
Yep.
Without that throw he
doesn't go
made
to the
here.
Olympics.
Yeah, or the European Championships.
Right.
He got to go to both.
Yep.
Gave him a ton of experience.
Yep.
Now he's back breaking 70 meters, and it's changed his life.
And Sousa from Portugal.
Emmanuel,
Yeah.
yes. We
Yeah,
talked
right.
with him.
Yeah, he hit the standard.
Huge.
Yeah.
So giving folks that chance, but then also the really generous prize money. The Diamond League money, I know, is nothing like that. They don't double or triple up on things, and so it's just immensely generous of you to help these athletes like that.
Couldn't spin it any better way.
Don Milikin, thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for all you do for the throws community.
Glad to do it. Appreciate you guys being here. This is great. to
It's a
have this
pleasure,
kind of
man.
coverage.
Pleasure.
So, my friends, if you're watching, you're seeing the women's A group warming up for this competition that's going to get started. I think we're going to have one more little special event happen here
we
shortly. Alita Van Dalen taking some warm-up throws. Here's Valerie Allman as they prepare. We talked to Mac Wilkins earlier about, you got to kind of practice in this wind. Certainly practice as in training consistently in the wind is important. But even the subtlety of what direction the wind's coming from right now, these women want to try to harness as much of that as possible. And so they're thinking about release angle and all sorts of things and making adjustments throughout the competition.
Would you like to take a guess, Coach, as to what year Melina Robert Michon was born?
Well, as an aging gentleman of 50, who, out of all these people, amazing athletes this weekend that I've gotten to chat with, I was most looking forward to the wonder of Melina Robert Michon, who is.
Seven-time Olympian.
So she competed in the 2000 Australia Olympics.
Yep.
She's 45, so I'm gonna put her in. She was not born before She was born before 1980, 79.
1979 is correct. Wow. And would you be offended if throughout the broadcast, in honor of her, I sang a few bars from some of the top songs from 1979?
If
I
you
was
were
actually alive.
If you were listening earlier and turned the live feed off, Dan McQuaid did sing "Happy Birthday" to Kara Winger on our previous podcast. So he's got his pipes warmed up.
Do we need to do a trigger warning about this?
I don't know. I think it's fair to be. I don't know.
Okay, I'll start off with some Rod Stewart then. If you want my body and you think I'm sexy, come on, honey, tell me so. Tell me so, baby.
Folks listening at home, when this happened earlier with the birthday song, I tried to recede into my chair as deep as I could.
You don't bring me flowers.
That was
Don't sing
1979.
love songs. Yes, it was. I was actually alive and listening to music like
Oh, I was alive.
and wearing a leisure suit to disco clubs. Yeah, rocking out to some Rod Stewart.
The order today is going to be Alexandra Emelianov, who you are seeing right now.
Oh, she looks solid.
Daisy Osakwa from Italy. Alita Vendala, Netherlands. She throws at Florida University. The two-time gold medalist Valerie Allman. The aforementioned Melina Robert-Michon from France. Veronica Fraley. Lagi Tasaga. And Jaime Perez to finish out this group. That'll be the throwing order. Here's Melina taking a warm-up throw.
One of my favorite movies came out in the year of Melina's birth, Monty Python's Life of Brian. You a fan?
That's good stuff.
That is good stuff.
That's good stuff.
That is, especially when I was 19. When you're 19, that is really good stuff.
Here's Daisy.
Daisy is such an awesome kid. She went to college in the States. Is it Sam Houston? I got to go through my notes here. But in Texas. She's Italian. She grew up in Italy. Came over for Angelo State. Yeah, in Texas. She was a two-time NCAA Division II champion. And just a wonderful human being. I've been able to run into her a couple times in Europe at European Championships, and she's fantastic. So rooting for her. I don't know that she has the standard yet, so that is probably what she's gunning for. Her PB 64.57 in 23, 61.57 season best. So yeah, she's gunning for 64.50. What are we gonna see from Lagi today?
Well, here's what I would say is I'm a huge fan of Lagita Saga, and I am hoping for her to just find kind of comfort in the ring. I felt like she was pressing a little bit on Thursday night, and like we said, I think the women had such a long wait on Thursday that it was probably more than fair to not have huge high expectations
Right.
in the conditions. But I know that she's trying to regain her footing after a tough season last year, after winning the world championship in dramatic fashion.
Oh my gosh.
In Budapest. And I just want to see her throw consistently and throw comfortably.
Listen to these career high and low watermarks. 2017 U.S. Under 20 champ, but then she went to the USA Senior Championships and no marked. 2018 Big Ten champ, fourth in the NCAA, 60-65 for third at the USA's. So 3 ups in a row. 2019 NCAA champ, third in the USA's, PB 63.94 in qualification at the Worlds. And if you remember, those were not until October. So she did the full college indoor and outdoor season, full summer, went to the Worlds in Doha, PB'd in the qualifier, but then in the final, fouled out. 2020, season wiped out. 2021, second in the NCAA, 63.53, very respectable. No mark at the Olympic trials. 2022, first year as a pro, second in the USA, 64.49. 62.85 World Championship qualifier, but then only 56.47 in the final. And you know what's coming next. 2023, second in the USA's, 65.46. 69.49 in the World Championships for the win. Shocker. Was that that was a 3 or 4 meter PB?
4 meter PB.
4 meter PB. And then she backed that up in the Diamond League, got second to Val, 68.36.
Yep.
So she looked like she had graduated to one of the best in the world. 2024 comes around. She throws 65.38, her opener in April, and then she did not reach 65 meters again, and no marked at the Olympic trials for a second time. So she has been up and down and all over the place.
And I think what people need to remember, I mean, I know we're going in kind of deep into Logi's not IMDb. That's when you're an actor.
Similar, though.
But into your world athletics resume. But I think what's hard for throws fans is these also are people who exist in the world outside of the ring.
Yes, they do.
Health challenges, life stuff. These are real people that are battling all sorts of things, and sometimes that stuff, interrupts seasons and knocks you off your training regimen. So I want to see her get back on some even footing where she feels comfortable in her own skin and in the ring and can find some consistent throws again because she's a great kid and she deserves it.
She's done a reset now. She's back with her. She went to college at the University of Iowa.
Yeah.
And her best years were under Eric Worski. Then he took the job at Florida. And now she's training with him, although she's still in California. She has strong family ties in the San Diego
She's
area.
gone down to Florida for, I think, a training camp, and they're
Yep.
working together again.
Yep.
So.
She's trying to go about once a month. And she has her high school coach, who she's always had a great relationship with. He's her on-site coach. So he and Worski communicate. They trade film. Worski gives, his opinion of, how things are going, whatever, gives direction. And apparently the high school coach is a great conduit for that. Yeah. So Loggie has kind of built a really comfortable support system around herself.
Alita Van Dalen enters the ring for her warm-ups. She really, I thought, performed well in not great circumstances on Thursday. I know I have alluded to that in previous live streams, but I'm really excited to see what she can do with some wind blowing because she is an impressive athlete.
She was here on that day, Thursday. I think I got here second at the facility. My wife and I drove over. Corey Martin was already in the parking lot with Jaden Ulrich. But then just a few minutes later, I walked through the lounge here, and there's Alita, and that was 9 in the morning.
Yeah.
And what time did she throw?
Well, she had a teammate who threw in the left-handed discus, which started at 11:30.
That's right.
So she was out there supporting them. She was given, technical advice to Emmanuel.
Yep, she coached him up.
She
to
put in a
qualifier.
full day, and then 12 hours later,
Yeah.
she's in the ring in the dark and produced a 65-meter throw.
Yeah.
So
And she looked good in warm-ups, but then it looked like she was completely out of gas in her early rounds. Somehow she found 65 meters.
So before we get started here, I think we are going to see a ceremonial first discus throw from none other than Olympic champion and former world record holder Mac Wilkins, who's been here most of the weekend. Dan and I got to spend some time with Mac. He was speaking at the Illinois Track and Field Coaches Association clinic earlier this year in January. Mac's been a long-time coach since his coaching days, and he's been here supporting some athletes throughout the weekend. So it's been great to see Mac here.
He's just a great, gentle presence.
Yeah, isn't
he?
Yeah.
When it's interesting, the contrast, because when he was in his prime as a thrower, he had a reputation as being hard to deal with. He was always fighting the Federation. He was kind of a rebel, right, for like a 60s, 70s rebel. But, man, he is just a wonderful, sweet, generous guy. It'll be great to see him do this ceremonial throw. Let me ask you this, though. What if he cages it? How does he come back from
He
that?
told me he might throw it left-handed, so I wouldn't put anything past him.
He's confident.
Veronica Fraley working on refining some things before we get started here.
We'll get another update on the wind, but they were thinking about switching rings. That's how precise they are about getting the best wind for these folks. But they decided to stay with this one. It's the same ring that Jaden threw 69 meters in. But the wind does shift a little bit around here, so they're very cognizant of that, trying to capture the best angle for these throwers.
If you look, folks who are watching, if you look straight down the right sector line and get to the tree line and then just look gently to the left of that, you're going to see the 3 flags that are flying out in the parking lot near the entrance to Throwtown, Ramona, and Milikin Field. And you'll see the American flag, a Throwtown, Ramona flag, and Seal Throwing Club flags there. And they are almost stiff, and they are right quartering nearly a crosswind, but a right quartering wind. And it worked really well for Jaden Ulrich. Here's Mac Wilkins. Oh, yeah, tell him to back it up, Mac.
He's going right-handed.
I like it.
He was sandbagging us.
Ceremonial first throw from Mac Wilkins. Well, he's throwing a Fiber Sport discus, which is apropos. Fiber Sport, one of the sponsors. Yeah, Mac, I'll give him a clap.
He hasn't lost it. I didn't hear a clang, so we got to assume it got out of the cage. Well done, sir.
Mac Wilkins, living legend. What else can you say?
I named my dog after him when I was a high school
There you go,
thrower.
supporting Seal Throwing Club. He's got the shirt.
Nicely done.
Broke the record 3 times in one day. He would have been into Don Milikin's back pocket quite a bit that day.
Yeah, he would have made bank.
there's Caleb Seal, one of the absolute titans of making this whole thing happen. So a titan of throwing and Caleb Seal.
Looks like we're teeing it up here, Coach.
Yeah,
Get
I'm
those
very
live
excited to
results
get this
going.
started.
Our next adventure with live
Alexandra's
results.
going to start us off.
She trains with Doug Reynolds in Kansas. Is he University of Kansas? Okay. So she trains there. She married an American as well. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Live results. So she and her husband live there. She is from Moldova, a small country in.
A great NCAA career, and she is formidable. Long, and she knows what she's doing in the ring. Let's see what happens here.
She threw 64.33 in qualifying in Paris last summer.
Oh, long flight on the disc. That's a
That
great
looks like
start.
a nice opener. Her coach, Doug Reynolds, is here, so that's probably who you heard yelling there a minute ago. Doug, a former outstanding thrower, one of the best in the U.S. in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s.
Really like the back of the ring.
Let's see what we got here.
60-71, 199-2 to start. And you can see her kind of grabbing her chest. All right, maybe the nerves are out.
There we go.
She can have the rest of her day.
She's fun to watch throw. 'Cause
Right.
she loves to. She's just full of joy when she throws. She told me that she kind of lost that joy for a couple of years, but she's found it again, and you'll see her dancing and having a great time.
Daisy Osakwa is next. I think she might have fallen out of the ring.
Yeah. Daisy again, is Italian. She represents Italy.
She's laughing about it, so I think she's okay.
She threw 61.57 at the European Cup, Throwing Cup a few weeks ago. But for sure, she's looking for that 64.50 today.
Alita Van Dalen from the University of Florida is next.
So Alita's already got the qualifier. That's got to feel good.
Yes, she does.
She was the 2019 European Under-20 Discus champ. And you can see why right there.
Long, nice and easy. Her younger brother is one heck of a talented athlete as well.
Her personal best was set here at Throwtown last year, 66.31. She's soon to be joined by her brother.
Yeah, he's going to go to the University of Florida as well and throw for Eric Worski. There's Eric, Lagi Tasaga's coach.
The brother is a unit, Coach. I've not met him personally, but on video, he looks formidable.
61.84 for round one, a nice opener. She looked comfortable in the ring. I'm sure she's going to push. All right.
We got Val here, two-time Olympic champion.
We had a fantastic chat with Viestine Hofsteinson, longtime coach of Daniel Stahl, Gerd Cantor. And Viestine is fairly confident that Valerie Ullman is doing some of the best things in the discus ring in the entire world right now. And, her marks over the last several years have proven it.
She's consistently in the high 60s, and she's thrown amazing in 2 Olympic Games.
Yeah, I mean, the test of throwing is, this is a special weekend where kids are trying to hit big marks because the wind might allow that. But, this whole world of track and field comes down to who can do it on the day. 69.52 is a fantastic start, and that looked very easy.
That looked very easy.
That looked like the most comfortable 69.52 I've ever seen.
Here's Melina.
All right, Melina Michon Robert. Oh, hey, did you look up what the over 45 world record is?
Oh, I did, and I wrote it down. Let me see if I can find where I wrote it. She's gunning for it. It's 64 something. We'll find it.
The fact that she's throwing over 60 meters still, and she 7-time Olympian,
2 children at home.
just an impressive athlete.
Three's Company was a very popular show the year she was born.
I hated that show.
How come?
It was one of those shows where 56.84. She won't be happy with that, but she's got a mark and she can build off of that. The premise of that show was that something happens and the audience knows about it and everyone else doesn't, and so you're just like nervous for when like the truth's gonna come out. Come on, Loggy. Oh, Lagi Tasaga with a big throw in round 1. Oh, that was Veronica Fraley. My apologies. Is Veronica Fraley. I apologize.
I don't think she'll be insulted, though.
Yeah, my bad, Veronica. That looked really good.
Veronica's PB 67-17 a year ago right here at Throwtown.
And I just think young throwers, if you watch, I think, the young throwers that I coach in high school, they think speed is key. Speed at release is key. And what I love about watching Veronica throw is it's just such a nice, calm setup. 68-72 for Veronica Fraley.
My.
Oh,
She
man.
loves throwing at Throwtown.
Yeah, she does. Here's Loggy.
Let's go, Loggy.
Get out there, baby. Veronica Fraley, that is a fantastic throw for her.
Outstanding.
Oh, my gosh. Things are heating up, and we're just getting started, my friends.
Veronica's also a fine big meat thrower, right? She made the team in Paris.
Sure did.
She's made 2 world championships, 22 and 23. So she knows how to huck it in a stadium.
68-72. What's Veronica's PR?
Her old PR set here a year ago was 67-17.
So she just crushed that. 61-71 for Loggy to start out with. And again, not everyone can be apparently Valerie and Veronica. You got to start with a name V to crush it in round 1. Otherwise, you have to start more comfortably.
That seems to be the requirement.
Yaimi Perez, who kind of set this place on fire last year with her huge 73-meter throw, 73.09 last year.
Jaime in a strange situation. She is a refugee from Cuba, but she hasn't gotten permission to switch allegiance yet or to compete internationally as an independent. So
you won't see her at a World Championships until that happens, but we saw her in Diamond League competitions.
Yes.
And other meets. She's a fantastic talent. Former world champion, yes?
Former world champion. A formidable thrower.
66-96 to start. All right, so everybody, we are through round 1, and the fireworks have already begun. Valerie Allman's out at 69.52 on the most comfortable 69-meter throw, and Veronica right behind her at 68.52. Here's Alexandra for round 2.
Again, she's from Moldova, small country in Eastern Europe, wedged between Ukraine and Romania.
And you can already see it. That was a much more aggressive finish than her first round throw, which looked really kind of calm and confident. She's at 60-71, 199.2 in round 1.
Were you aware, Coach, that the most common trees in Moldova are hornbeams and oaks?
What did you say? Hornbeam?
Hornbeams and oaks. That's right, I said it.
I didn't know that was a tree.
Now you do. Aren't you glad we partnered up here?
I'm learning new things all the time. 61.45 is an improvement for Alexandra. 2:01.7.
Back to Daisy, I believe. She needs a mark.
Daisy took a spill in round 1, so she's on her feet, so that's an improvement.
I like Daisy's technique. She stays close to the ground. She uses a lot of horizontal force.
So powerful, so much speed and power. I think for, Daisy's probably one of the slightest throwers in this competition, and I think for, smaller women, I think, you got to be big to throw the disc. Create tension and speed that thing up at release, and you can throw it far. She's proof. Alita Van Dalen, the solid throw there. She is at 61.84 from round 1.
She's 2-time national discus champion. She competed in the shot and the disc in Paris last summer. Again, it's interesting. The conditions are better tonight.
They are. I think that 65-meter throw was her last throw of the night on Thursday.
Yeah, you're right. She built to that.
58.93, not an improvement. So Valerie Allman in round 1, 69.52, and it just looks so easy, Dan.
Yeah, it looked like she took almost like a safety throw. That one I think had a little more pop on it. She has such incredible control, right?
Yes.
like
She
if you have
does.
a young thrower, it's hard to say, okay, go easy on this one. Sometimes it completely messes them up. But if you have her experience and her skill, you can probably do that and say, I'm going to open easy, and then I'm going to dial it up from there.
She is a finely tuned machine, and I think she understands like how to turn one dial, hold back on another dial, and I'm sure that her and her coach Zeb Sion will make those adjustments throughout the competition, looking for bigger throws. 6501 is not an improvement, but still a good throw. Melina Robert Michon will be next.
Love Boat, another top show in 1979. You a fan of that?
That one didn't stress me out, but I didn't like that one either.
Wow, you were hard to please. And
I was 5.
You've mellowed. We are rooting hard for Melina Robert Michon.
Yeah, we are.
Really nice person, and holy cow, 7-time Olympian, medalist in Rio.
I think I heard that
16
there
Rio.
was like a coxswain who was a 9-time Olympian, but they just get to sit and like bark at other people rowing.
You realize this is a family broadcast. Could you please clean up your language just a little bit?
I think throwing the discus 7 times in Olympics is much more impressive.
Yes,
Nothing against the rowers out there, but
I agree, especially when you take a little time off to give birth.
let's see what Veronica Fraley can do. 68-72 in round 1.
Can she top that, or is she going to be a little too excited? Let's see.
So nice and easy out of the back. A
She
big
did not,
stretch.
She did not try to smash that one. Some nice rhythm. Can you guess what Veronica's bench press is?
It's stronger than yours.
A little bit, slightly.
I actually know this, so you drop the knowledge on people, Dan.
350 pounds. And I know it says that on Wikipedia. And I asked her
Yeah.
a week ago, and she said, yeah, 350. So you don't want to mess with her.
That's a big number, especially for discus throwers.
Oh,
66-59.
she's just got a nice field today. Whatever's going on with that wind, she's handling it. Come on, Loggy.
Here's Lagi Tasaga.
I guess we're not supposed to root right in the announcing business, but
61-71. We can root for every single one of these athletes, can't we?
Oh,
it's big. That's big.
The crowd loved it. The crowd loved it.
There are a few people in this crowd that are also excited for Lagi too, so she's pretty easy
Yep.
to cheer for.
Yeah, she's popular out there, as you can see. Just a sweet, sweet person. What do we got here? 70-72. Woo! Coach, are you taking your shirt off? Come on, man.
70-72. That's a new world lead. She just took.
Oh my!
She just took the world lead from Jaden Ulrich, who set it in the Group E competition about an hour and 20 minutes ago.
Coach Frontier doing his best to rip his shirt off, but unfortunately, it's a solidly made item of clothing.
Lagi Tasaga, enjoy this, kid.
Oh my! Oh my!
You know,
Perez back at it.
oh my gosh. So last year, and you were here last year, I was not, but you said that it took Mika Sosna's throw to kind of light the candlestick for everyone else to follow suit and start feeling like everyone can throw far.
Yep.
Maybe Lagi's big throw will have the same effect on
I
everyone.
think you're right. I think Val is a pretty tough competitor.
Yeah,
right?
she is.
She's not going to want to be shown up here. So let's see. Let's see how she responds.
Yami Perez, 65-53. Not an improvement for her. I think what people need to understand is, if you are a casual discus fan who happen to be dragged along by a passionate discus fan watching this live stream, that when we say 65-53 for Yami Perez, we're not disappointed. That is a massive throw. But what Lagi's done and Val and Veronica are, I mean, this is at the top of the world. This is really good throwing.
Sensational. Ms. Emelianov just took her, we're in round 3 now, right? Start of round 3.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
She's at 61-45 looking for an improvement. 59-02 will not be an improvement for her, but she's going to get 3 more throws as she makes adjustments along the way.
My goodness.
So just to give some people some perspective as Daisy Osakwa enters the ring, round 3. It would be very easy to go to a high school, girls' high school meet and see the best throwers throw 115, 120, 130 would be a very good high school discus throw. Langita Saga just threw 232 feet. So that gives you some perspective about what these world-class women are doing. And just so you know, Melina Robert-Michon is at 190 feet 9 inches. That is 8th place right now, or 7th place right now. So it puts into perspective. All of these women are throwing extremely far.
Incredible, incredible. Daisy's still struggling, the 5104, but hopefully she can calm down, find a little composure.
Let's see if Alita Vandalen can improve.
I think her middle name is Composure, Alita. She is a happy, even-keeled lady. So I'm looking for her to find her groove thing too here.
I'm 6 feet with shoes, and I stood next to her, and I am a much shorter person than she is.
Yeah, she's got that classic discus build, doesn't she? Long levers. She improves to 6102. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not an improvement. 6102.
So she's at 61.84 through round 3.
And good stuff, but she's looking to do better than the other night when she went 65.
So let's see Valerie Allman's response to Loggie's big throw.
I think Val's about to smash one.
I think as well.
I feel it. I feel it, Coach.
She's shouting at it.
Oh,
telling it to
my.
go far.
Oh,
That's big.
baby.
That is big. That's really big.
Gosh, if I wasn't such a sophisticated man, I might think about ripping my shirt off about now.
Right?
Let's see what we got here, Val. We'll see if Loggie's 70-72 lit a fire here under Val. We're still waiting for the official measurement. 73-52.
73.52. That's a new American record.
Wow.
That is an absolute colossal bomb.
And that's what happens, though, right? When you're as tough as she is.
Yeah, surpasses Yaimi's big throw from last year. She threw 73.09. 73.52 is the biggest throw on American soil. The biggest throw, certainly, in nearly 30 years.
Loggie poked the bear there.
Melina Ribera-Mochon.
Melina first broke 60 meters in 1999, Coach.
And she's been doing it every year since.
Every year since.
So 26 years of 60-meter throwing for Melina Ribera-Mochon. She went over 60 meters on Thursday.
Yep, sensational. Fantasy Island, were you a fan of that? The plane.
The plane, that's right. I was.
Okay, that's 1979 as well. Talk about your glory age of television, folks.
I was a bigger Knight Rider fan.
I think that was more age appropriate probably for you.
The Incredible Hulk, that used to be on with Lou
That's
Ferrigno.
good stuff, yes. Melina goes 54-15.
She just has not found it yet today, and hopefully she does before this competition is over.
Ms. Fraley back in the ring.
68.72 in round 1 looks so easy for Veronica.
How does 68-72 leave you in third place?
It doesn't at very many competitions, I'll tell you that right now. I don't know if there's a little bit of a hang-up with the measuring system right now.
Is it the turtle again? Maybe the turtle is out there wandering.
Yeah, so folks who were watching yesterday, we had a snapping turtle that wandered straight across the throwing sector. We named it Denny in honor of Matt Denny's big throw, but if we see any more wildlife, perhaps we're going to have to call it Allman.
Fair. Especially if it's like a leopard, like sleek, powerful leopard. Yeah, if a leopard walks by, we're naming it Val.
I want a big thank you to Scott Kapos at Throws Pro and my partners at Thrower X for being the sponsors of the 2025 World Invitational here at Throwtown Ramona.
Coach, can I wish a happy birthday to a really good friend of ours?
Yes,
Coach
absolutely.
Ken Kemeny,
Yeah.
in charge of the Chicago branch of the Throw Big, Throw Far clubs. He is turning What do you think? What would be your guess for Ken Kemeny? Wednesday's his birthday.
Maybe he's the same vintage as Melina Robert Marchand, 40, 45?
45? Okay, I'm going to go with 68.
Well, he'll be pissed about that. Happy
Ken,
birthday,
I've known
Ken.
him since he was in high school. He was state champion for my dear friend Jim Akins.
Shout out to Jim Akins.
Ken is a great young coach. It's so inspiring for me because to me he's young still, and to see a younger coach coming up through the ranks who just devotes himself to the sport. He loves the sport. He's a great coach. He started the Chicago branch of your club. Not an easy task, and
He's doing a great job. He's
an early happy birthday wish to him.
Well, we're having some technical difficulties. I want to give a big shout out to Roadie Sport, another sponsor of the World Invitational. Roadie Sport wrist straps and wrist support. Roadie straps are the wrist support for shot put. Roadie straps set repeatable tension, fast and easily. Add wrist snap power to your throw. Roadie straps, made in the USA. Go to roadiesport.com. Veronica Fraley, round 3.
Let's go. See if we can keep this train rolling. She missed that one a little bit, maybe. Sector. Ken is
The
43.
foul.
43 years old, which I think was my guess.
All right. Happy birthday, Ken.
An early happy birthday, young man.
Lagi Saga is going to enter the ring, and we talked with Jaden Ulrich after her big throw and how her big throw came in round 1, and she really struggled kind of staying calm the subsequent throws. Let's see what Lagi does here in response to her big PB.
Okay.
Yeah, top that one, so that won't be measured. Not shocking. That's exactly what Jaden Ulrich did in the last competition.
It's just hard. You have that big breakthrough. You have all those feels, right?
Emotions.
Yeah.
Jaden talked about, her coach, Corey Martin, just kind of saying, all right, we got to reset for the next 3, and she kind of worked herself back to a nice throw on round 3 throw, or round 6 throw.
65, I would think, right? She climbed back to.
Lagi's a pro, so she will find a way to dial it back in, but 70-72 in a PR is nothing to be sad about. Yaimi Perez back in the ring.
It's kind of funny how you can tell from that reaction of those guys along the sector.
Yeah, those guys are truth sayers.
They're the canary in the coal mine.
That's right. It's a crystal ball.
Yeah, I may struggle a little bit today. I'm not sure how. I haven't had a chance to talk to Dane yet about her training or anything.
Yeah, me neither.
She looks a little uncomfortable.
She warmed up on Thursday night and then decided not to compete.
That's right.
But, that could have been for a million reasons. It was extremely late in the day, cold, the wind had died down, or perhaps, she's dealing with an injury. I wish I had asked Dane about it, but, she just doesn't look comfortable right now. We'll see if she can put it together in the subsequent throws. So they're going to do some reordering here before we move on to round 4. So let's recap. Are you ready? Daisy Osakwa is looking for some form. She had a couple fouls and then needed a throw, 51-04. Melina Robert Marchand, 58-14. Alexandra Emelianov, 61-45. Alita Vendal, 61-84. Yaimi Perez, 66-96. Nothing to sneeze at. Veronica Fraley, 68-72, a PB for her. Lagi Saga, a PB for her, 70-72. And the best throw in the world and a PB for the 2-time gold medalist, Valerie Allman, is at 73-52.
Another big hit from 1979, Shake Your Groove thing.
You're very fixated on this, on these shouts out to Melina, because we are all in awe of her. But
we are in awe of her, so I had to do my preparation. How much would you pay me not to shake my groove thing about now?
I will give you all the snacks that surround us in the studio here.
Done.
There's a smiling Valerie Allman. There's a lot to smile about when you throw 73-52 at Throwtown Ramona. And she's got 3 more throws, so that's exciting.
We've talked a lot about, how hard it is to climb up into the top 10 of the all-time discus ranking because it's so distorted from the steroid years, the 70s and 80s. You have greats like Sandra Perkovic who are, she's like probably 35th all-time or something with a 71-meter PB. So So I'm not sure where that puts Val.
As two throws enthusiasts, I'm very excited that the facility here and the wind allows to kind of offer these women a resurgence of feeling like their marks are relevant relative to that list, because a lot of those marks, and in a drug era, are just not super approachable and haven't been for years. And so to see two 73-meter throws in the last year here, one by Jaime Perez and now today from Valerie Ullman, is very exciting.
It is exciting. You just, I think about like swimming at the Olympics, and it's not uncommon for swimmers to break world records at those big meets, and it's really exciting. And then, but to have this women's world record sitting out there at 76 meters, knowing why it's that far, it's frustrating.
And we don't need to relitigate the era that was, nor, unfortunately, do I think for a lot of the women in that era, specifically the East Germans, was it of their own doing. It was state sponsored, and these women, are channeled into sports and a sport chosen kind of by their state at a young age.
Right.
And it just was it was a different world then.
It was, and when you live in a totalitarian society, personal choice is not high on the list of considerations. So if the athletic, they would test in the old Eastern Bloc, they would do physical testing with kids when they were quite young. And if they saw someone who fit the bill, they thought would be a really good thrower or whatever, they would channel them into that sport and channel them into certain pharmaceuticals. And it's just too bad. It's too bad. So if Throwtown, Oklahoma can be a little bit of a corrective to that.
Well, there's been talk of, there's the biggest reaction we've seen from Alina, and she likes that one.
She wants to get that record for 45.
She's at 58.14, and I think she was out over 61 or 62 meters on Thursday night, and so I'm hoping that the yell and her reaction is equal to the mark here, because she's searching for something bigger. You don't fly all the way to France to Oklahoma to not hit some big throws, and 59.52 is her best throw on the day. It's an improvement, but I know she'll be looking for more in her last two throws.
What would you think? What would you say is the major difference between France and Oklahoma? I'd be interested in your thoughts on that.
Based on our dinner last night, it's the quality of the baked bread.
That's a good point. Although that did not stop the throwers that we were out with from devouring and filling their pockets full of bread.
That's true. A lot of take-home bread. Alexandra Emelianov, she is at 61.45, looking for an improvement there.
She was the 2015 World Under 18 champion, 2017 European Under 20 champion. So she's got some medals in her closet.
No doubt.
She just needs to get that 64.50.
Such a good finish on her throw. Aggressive.
Doug Reynolds, pretty good coach.
Yeah, he is. Alita Van Dalen now. 61.84.
Well, when you throw it past the marking guy, sector.
Yeah, that was. So we were talking with a couple of the coaches about how hard this wind is blowing across, about sending it down the right sector, but that was too far out.
She's doing her best. She's struggling to find a little bit of rhythm, as is Jaime. Let's see if she can find it.
66.96 is a huge throw, but not what she's expecting today, and she just looked a little out of sorts in round 3.
Yeah, she's got to know the expectations are high for her here after what happened last year.
She walks out of the front on that one. I think that might be wide right.
Yeah, I gotta think she's just not herself, coach.
Or she's pressing it. I mean, she was 66.96, 65.53, 66.14. These are all fantastic throws, but when you see 70 meters from Loggy and 73 from Valerie, you start pressing, and all of a sudden 66 isn't good enough anymore. That's hard to deal with mentally.
Agreed.
Especially if you're trying to tinker with something technically in the ring.
Yeah,
it's a juggle.
Kinda, after last year, she probably feels like this is her house.
Yeah.
She came in and threw that 73-meter bomb. Miss Fraley back at it.
68.72 was her first round throw, looking for an improvement. That's a really good throw this early in the season.
How about it? She's still throwing the shot as well, Coach. She threw in the USA Indoors, got 7th, and she said she's going to continue. I think she, like what Maggie was saying earlier, she kind of likes throwing 2 implements.
So close last year. She was Paris Olympian, but I think she was 13th and not by much. She missed out on that final, and so
9 centimeters she missed
9
by.
centimeters
Yeah.
was it by? I knew it was close. 66.33 for Veronica.
All right, heck of a series. Let's go, Loggy. See if she's got anything left.
Oh, that looked better.
Oh, my. She
It's
threw
a-
that nicely. What's the reaction of the crowd? Nope, they're not excited, Coach. The dudes are not excited. But like we were saying the whole time with Jaden, Loggy is not going to go away unhappy, no matter what her remaining throws look like. You break 70 meters, that's a great day. Oh, that was 68.
Yeah, it
Wow,
was a
that's a
good
tough
throw.
crowd out there,
Oh.
Coach.
I thought she hit it really nicely.
You drop a 68 and everybody just stands there with their hands in their pockets?
You know, one of the things that I was thinking about, just as strong as the wind is, and I would love to hear from Christoph as you hear the wind blow through our production studio here. Here is Valerie Ullman.
That is not a dinosaur trying to break into the shed and kill us. That's just the wind. Let's see.
It's another solid throw.
Once again, those guys I think they're spoiled. They're jaded, right? They're like, 73 or nothing. 73 or I'm not even taking my hands out of my pocket.
Some of those gentlemen standing there are some of the best throwers in the entire world, so perhaps they just have high expectations for Val.
Very high expectations.
But what I was saying before is the men's and women's implements, the women's implement is half the weight of the men's. And so these women almost have to set the edge of the discus differently than the men do to sustain flight. And so usually you want to catch a discus with the outside edge down just a little bit, 67.71 for Val. Let it plane, let it turn over eventually in a crosswing or right quartering wind. But a lot of these women are trying to hit it high and already open a little bit to the wind. And so you're only getting the last 2/3 of that kind of push over, turnover at the end of the throw. Because if you hit it flat or with the right edge down, this wind might push it down. It's so strong.
Yeah. Daisy's struggling with her timing.
We saw Daisy have some good movements on Thursday evening, but this doesn't look like she's as comfortable as she was Thursday. You got any other 1979 highlights for us?
Oh, yeah.
As Melina enters the ring again?
1 second. Dallas? Were you a fan of Dallas as a 5-year-old?
Who shot JR? No, that. How long Dallas was on for a long time? I was not watching that, but there were only 3 channels back then, so everyone was talking about Dallas.
Yeah. Oh, wait, hold on. The crowd is
Yeah.
clapping. Something big just happened.
Come on, Melina.
When those lamos start clapping,
Ooh, you just called those guys lamos. Some of those guys know you.
Yeah, well,
You're in trouble.
you just saw them a 66-meter throw, and they just stood there. So that's a little disappointing. I guess they're conserving their energy for tomorrow. Wait, what do we have? What do we have here?
64.02.
Outstanding. All right, now
That was
I
a
gotta
big
go back
throw.
and look up that.
She gets a high five from Mac Wilkins. I thought you said it was around 64.50, which is the standard, but
Yeah.
64.02, 210 feet for Melina.
Okay.
Fantastic throw.
And she got those guys to perk up a little bit, so great job, her.
Alexandra back in the. She's in 7th right now at 61.45. We had Don Milikin in here before. All these women are going to get prize money, the top 8, and each one of these groups is a different competition. So
That is a man that is not afraid to put his money where his mouth is.
so true. He's an incredible patron and supporter of the throws. $54.75. So throwaway throw. She's kind of laughing a little bit.
Back to Alita. Oh my goodness, Coach.
Yeah,
What's the date today?
today is April 12th.
Happens to be Alita Von Dalen's 23rd birthday.
Oh, that's a fact.
It's like we have a little delay here. Not a delay, but a minute while they're measuring. So here we go. Happy birthday.
Oh, it's round 2 of Dan singing Happy Birthday, but this time for Alita.
To you. Happy birthday, dear Alita Von Dalen. Happy birthday to you. Hopefully she just notched a big one.
64.89. It's her best throw of the
All right,
day.
all right.
212.10. That moves
That was
her.
round 5, correct?
Yes, round 5.
One more.
Moves her above Molina. Jaime Perez is next in the ring. Those of you turning off the live stream after Dan sings each time, it's safe. You can.
I've still got a few greatest hits of 1979 in my back pocket in case we need them, just in case. In case the competition takes a turn and we need to perk things up a little bit.
You're just reading Yaime's face. When you throw 66, 65 meters and you're unsatisfied, it means you can throw really far. That's 63.75. 209.2 in round 5. She'll have one more throw.
And back to Veronica.
Veronica really got this thing started at 68.72 today.
In college, Veronica competed for Clemson and then Vanderbilt. She still holds the Vanderbilt shot and disc records.
I like that throw.
They didn't. Oh, wait, no, we got a clap there. Joe Brown, I think, is clapping. And he's got standards. Once again, that is not a Tyrannosaurus Rex trying to kill us like in Jurassic Park. That's just the wind trying to kill us. Mother Nature.
Power outages and wind damage.
So when
63.76 for Veronica as Lagi enters the ring for her 5th round throw.
I happen to know how Lagi is going to celebrate her big throw today, by the way.
I think I know what you're going to say, and I think you're right. That's a big throw.
And the dudes, dudes are happy.
Yeah, that looked good coming out of her hand. I
Alrighty
didn't need to wait for the dudes. That's a big throw.
German chocolate. Mika Sosna brought some over, and that apparently is Lagi's favorite. So she's going to have a nice treat to celebrate.
70.72 in round 2. She went 68.03 in round 4, 68.09 in round 5.
68.09. That got the guys stirring a little bit.
Consistent.
Back to Val. Does she have it in her, Coach, to go 74-ish?
I wonder what number if she came in with one in her mind.
That's a good question.
73.52 is a big toss.
Maybe American record.
It is.
But I mean, maybe that's what she was
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah.
She's happy with
Break
that.
break her own PB, break her own American record.
Yeah, she looked happy.
She's
with that.
achieved that.
I remember Val in Des Moines, one of those years we were there for the U.S. Championships,
Yeah.
Coach, 18 or 19. She was one of the first athletes, American athletes I saw take an approach to warm-ups to get her ready for the big meets in Europe, like
And
the
not
Worlds.
taking as many throws.
2 warm-up throws. And that was a year where they were just giving them almost unlimited warm-up time, like a half hour, I think.
Yeah.
And she just sat there, and I kept thinking, wondering, is she hurt? Is she hurt? Nope. She waited till the warm-up time was almost over, took her 2 throws, and then proceeded to kick everybody's ass. And that,
68.10 for Valerie. Yeah, I remember watching that with you.
Mm-hmm.
And, today actually I noticed, thinking back to that she actually took, there's a better throw from Daisy.
Daisy finally caught one a little bit.
Still don't think she's going to be happy with the distance, but she's just struggling to find it today, and sometimes this happens. But she took more warm-up throws today than she usually does, and I'm wondering if she's just trying to find what edge to fly the discus in this wind would work best today.
I'll bet you're right. She needed to feel out that wind. Tough day for Daisy.
She'll be back. She's a fantastic thrower, fantastic athlete.
Hopefully
we wish her
she'll
the best.
stick around and throw on that Monday meet. I'm not sure. I haven't seen a start list for that, but you don't want to come all this way and just have a crappy day.
So Molina went 64.02 in the last round. Incredible.
Let's go, Melina.
She likes that one too. Get out
And the
there.
dudes?
They give her a clap.
Yeah, they give her a courtesy clap.
It might have been just they were impressed with the scream.
Yep.
Clap for a scream of that quality. Great performance from her, 64.02.
We Are Family, another hit in 1979.
I can get down with that one.
Oh, look, speaking of getting down, there's Alexandra.
Dance
She's
a
fun to
little bit.
watch. Takes a lot of joy in competing again. It was really interesting. I talked to her a couple weeks ago, or a week ago. She talked about how, she lost her joy for a while, and it was hard to picture that. But, athletes are humans, like you said. But she's found it again. She loves throwing. She loves being coached by Doug Reynolds.
It's a hard sport if you are not loving the process. It is a grind.
Were you aware, Coach, that Moldova is home of the world's largest wine cellar? Nearly 2 million bottles, one wine cellar. Those are either very small bottles or it's a big cellar.
We're going to keep my wife away from Moldova. That sounds expensive.
Maybe it's the airplane size bottles,
Okay.
and it's just a regular cellar. The national animal of Moldova, an auroch. I'm not making this up, which is an extinct giant cow. That's their national animal.
Interesting. We are into our last 5 throws of this competition. Alita Van Dalen, 64.89 in the last round. See if she can build on that. Oh, that's a great flight. That's going to be right around the same space, 63 maybe.
So what's cooler, an eagle or an auroch, an extinct cow, as your national animal?
Well, I'm not jaded about the eagle, but auroch sounds interesting.
You know what's cooler than either of those? The hippo. The hippo. If a country would adopt the hippo as their national animal, I would move there.
You can start your own university. We talked about this already.
Yep. The such and such university hippos, and I would start it in that country.
So Alita Van Dalen finishes the day at 64.89 with her best throw in 5th place, 2:12.10. We will see more from her during the NCAA season. She competes for the University of Florida.
I just got to think that Jaime is maybe physically not 100%.
Yeah,
Like
foul
you
to
said,
finish.
she tapped out on Thursday when it got cold and late, and makes me wonder if she's got a pull or something that she's nursing.
66.96 to finish her day. That was her first round throw. So here's our top 3, the ones that really kind of set the tone of the day here.
The Bombardiers.
Veronica Fraley. Can she build on her 68.52 from round 1?
She's having a day, that young
Yeah,
lady.
she is consistent today. 68.72 looking to improve upon. She's got 2 other throws over 66 meters. Just 25. She will be hungry to make this World Athletics Championship team this summer.
Yeah, I would. Good luck to anybody getting in her way. She is
Formidable.
fierce. Yes.
65.56 to finish out her day.
Here's Loggy. She's 1 throw away from eating some German chocolate. Can she keep her focus? I know I would not be able to.
She went over the top of that one.
That's
All right.
okay.
I'm clapping for Loggy. 70-72.
Hell of a day.
Yeah, no doubt about it. 70-72, 232 feet. She earned her chocolate.
She did earn her chocolate.
So that leaves us with Valerie Ullman. World lead, American record holder, farthest throw in 30 years, 73-52. Valerie Ullman asking for a little support and deserve from the crowd that came out here to support all these throwers at Throwtown Ramona. The last throw of the day on day 3 of the World Invitational. Another good throw from Valerie. So her series today, 69.52, 65.01, 73.52, 66.71, 68.10. And that round 6 throw, which was another nice throw.
I just realized why you offered me the food on this table not to shake my groove thing, because that sandwich is mine. I brought that sandwich.
Yeah, I did. I just offered up.
My own sandwich. That was the last throw.
70-16, a second 70-meter throw for Valerie Allman today. A fantastic performance. Congratulations, Valerie Allman. 73.52. She is the World Invitational presented by ThrowX and Throws Pro 2025 Discus Champion.
Coach, is this a preview what we're going to see tomorrow?
Yeah, so let's talk about tomorrow before
Okay,
we finish our...
Let's do that.
Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., we have some of the best shot putters in the world, in the United States here.
Including our favorite, Maggie Euan.
Yeah, competing in the women's shot put. That will start at 10 a.m. tomorrow. And at the same time, there will be Group D of the men's discus tomorrow at 10 a.m. I believe that the live stream will show the women's shot, and we will probably not be showing Group D of the men's discus. The women's shot put tomorrow.
What section is that? We're trying to interpret the packet here.
We're gonna have you in a second here.
That's B. C. D. Oh, of course that's A.
Yeah. Can you find the women's shot put for us?
I'll find the women's shot while you tell us about the men's.
Claudio Romero Beltran, Heinrich Jensen, Lawrence Okoye, Sam Mattis, Clemens Proofer, Maddie Denny, Frederick Dakers, and Mikolas Alekna will be throwing in Group A.
I got the javelin here. Hold on, let me find the shot. Nope. Women's disc.
It's somewhere.
La dee dee dee.
It's a
There
great
it is.
field
There
of
it is.
shot putters.
Women's shot.
Tomorrow, women's shot putters. Veronica Fraley, who just had a fantastic day in the discus. You can't forget that she's an incredible doubler. Annie Nebboy from the University of Minnesota. Mina de Klerk, South Africa, from the University of Nebraska. Divine Oladipo, Jelani Davis, Abby Moore, Maggie Euan, Jess Woodard, who I just talked to and is healthy again as she comes off of surgery in the off season, and Keila Dove, who for the most of the season led the NCAA with a big 19-meter throw early in the indoor season.
She's got that Porsche engine, Coach.
Yeah, she does. So the women's shot put tomorrow at 10 a.m. You're going to see the live stream of every throw tomorrow morning on this same Throws University feed. Thanks again to Throws Pro and Thrower X for presenting these 2025 version of the World Invitational. Thanks to all the people at Milikin Field and Throwtown Ramona, Caleb Seal and Don Milikin, the entire staff here, all of the crew from Throws University, and all of our officials today. And thanks to those of you who are watching out there.
Thanks to you, Coach, for offering my own sandwich to me as an inducement.
That's the kind of guy I am. You know,
Classy.
I'm trying to make sure Dan gets enough calories. We don't want him falling out. He's done a lot of singing today.
You're a
and offered to
class
dance.
act. Tomorrow, God only knows what might happen tomorrow. I might wear a rippable shirt, like a tissue paper shirt.
Like Hulk Hogan, like pre-cut.
I like it.
So-
Pre-cut shirt.
This is another reason why they don't put us on camera, everybody.
Because I'm going to rip my shirt
Thanks to
off.
Roadie Sport for sponsoring the World Invitational. Go check out roadiesport.com. Check out Fiber Sport, their entire line of Fiber Sport discs. And also make sure you visit Tulsa. Come down to these Throwtown Ramona Oklahoma Throw Series events.
Only if you want to see the greatest discus throwing in the world. If you're not interested in that, then don't worry. Stay home.
I have to think, in our chat with Don, is they're going to keep figuring out how to build this place up better and better and offer more opportunities to throwers to throw far.
Well, they already got a turtle on staff and a herd of cows, so I'm not sure how you top that. Hey, Coach, where can folks access some of those interviews that we've been doing from these?
Yeah, if
throwers?
you want to check out Throw Big Throw Far on Instagram, McThrows on Instagram. I will tag Garage Strength and Throws University, Throwtown Ramona, and also check out the other live streams where we've been sitting down with some of these great athletes, coaches, and supporters of the throws community. Thanks, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow with more coverage from Throwtown Ramona.